Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. I'm just sitting back here, really appreciating this new Trump era. You know, it feels like we were caught in this clown world, we were caught in this backwards world for so long, but as the saying goes, elections have consequences, and in this case, the consequences have been pretty dire for left-wingers and their deceptive and duplicitous ways. We're now in a completely different environment where the same BS they used to pull no longer works. It doesn't even work with their own freaking biggest shills. You know, basically, they just can't lie like they used to. And we've seen a slow progression of that. It started when Elon Musk bought Twitter and converted it to X. He came in with this new innovative idea called community notes, and all of a sudden, the left just couldn't lie on the Twitter platform anymore. They'd get community noted into oblivion every time they did, and so slowly you started to watch their narratives completely fall apart. Well, that was the first step, and now I guess the second step is, now that the Democrat Party is in complete freefall, it seems like the antibodies within their own party are starting to be activated. There's still some left-wingers who have their eyes a little bit open and the head on their shoulders, and I can't believe I'm saying that about the TYT's Cenk Uygur, but he's the example today. You know, there's some people on the left who are seeing the writing on the wall. They're seeing the left make all the same mistakes that got them in this unfavorable position in the first place, and they're now starting to call out their own party. In a way, it's like the second step of community notes. Big, prominent left-wing thought leaders are now actively fact-checking their own party. The left just can't get away with the lies like they used to. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Okay, so let's start off with a little bit of backstory here. Donald Trump recently announced that he's going to use a portion of the Guantanamo Bay prison to hold and process violent illegal criminals that are currently being rounded up in his mass deportation program.
Today, I'm also signing an executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it. We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo.
And of course, the left is losing their mind. Donald Trump wants to use Guantanamo Bay to heist some people detained by ICE. Where do you think we're going with this? Ding, 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 you probably got it. Right back to the 2019 era when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was constantly going on about these supposed concentration camps that the Trump administration was holding border crossers in.
The United States is running concentration camps on our southern border.
And you know, in 2019, they really ran with this narrative, and unfortunately, a lot of people bought it hook, line, and sinker. We all remember Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez crying in front of a fence, pretending that she was witnessing human horrors, the likes of which you could not even imagine, even though she was literally staring at a parking lot. Well, you know, it worked in 2019, but nowadays it's not working at all. You know, the whole premise of this video, even people on the left are calling out this crap now. Cenk Uygur comes out swinging with this tweet that has leftoids on the platform's heads spinning. It turns out that last year, Biden gave a private prison company a multi-million-dollar contract to run the migrant jail at Guantanamo. So does that mean that Biden started the concentration camps? Also, Clinton had 45,000 migrants in that same facility. Or did Clinton start the gulags? My point isn't that I agree with sending them to Gitmo, I don't. I think it's a bad look for any president to send people to a place known for its lawlessness. We should be better than that. But for people to be saying that they're unprecedented gulags, stop saying crap that isn't true. Now, Cenk was very close there, you know, he was very close to being based, but I'd say not close enough, but still pretty damn good. Not bad. Cenk Uygur's really starting to develop a little bit of a improved track record, let's call it. But even though it's not perfect, it's pretty damn based. It's clear that some left-wingers don't want to go with this selective outrage nonsense anymore. They don't want to just push the party propaganda mindlessly. And so now here comes Cenk Uygur from the TYT dropping the actual facts, and obviously the left can't handle it. Take a look at some of these responses. This Twitter user says, "You're effing vile." Cenk Uygur then responds, "I think you not giving a crap about what's true is vile. I'm not giving Trump a pass here, I'm just pointing out democratic hypocrisy." Hey, I guess Cenk Uygur's in the business of exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left these days. Here's another ex-user who writes, "Who knew that you'd turn out to be a cuck for MAGA after all the millions progressives have invested in you? I guess that Republican venture capital money and Poly Market Studios money were the bosses after all." They're absolutely seething. And you know, they're pretending as if they're mad because apparently Cenk Uygur is MAGA now, but that's not why they're mad. They can obviously see the hypocrisy hypocrisy like everybody else. They're just mad that he's pointing it out. You know, the whole premise of this video, they're absolutely furious that they can no longer get away with the lies anymore. It's no longer the same environment. They're pissed off that their whole concentration camp shtick doesn't work anymore. They can't bring back the whole kids in cages hoax. Of course, we all remember what happened back then, right? During Trump's first term when the left was pushing all of these photos of kids in cages. That's why Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was crying in front of a parking lot. But as we almost immediately found out, those photos were from the Obama administration. Isn't it funny how history repeats itself with these dishonest Democrats? And just like the kids in cages thing, we got another fake outrage scandal that supposedly proves that Donald Trump is a fascist dictator, opening up gulags and concentration camps, but it turns out that the Guantanamo Bay holding facility was first used by Bill Clinton, and then again used by Joe Biden. What an absolute joke. But honestly, what makes this even worse than the whole kids in cages thing is that once again, these leftoids are advocating for violent criminals. Yep. Like I always say, the Democrat Party truly is the party of the criminal, because again, we know what's happening. The people who are currently being deported, the people who are at the top priority of this mass deportation campaign, are cartel members, people with criminal records. People with deportation orders are people who were caught living with, harboring, or aiding and associating with these criminals. We're not talking about dreamers. We're not talking about DACA recipients. We're not talking about the kids. No, we're talking about violent gang members. But of course, the left is so blinded by their rage, they're so blinded by their Trump derangement syndrome, they're so obsessed with opposing Trump and framing him as some sort of evil fascist dictator that they'll seemingly take any position as long as it makes Donald Trump look bad, even if that stance is totally hypocritical, completely insane, and basically running cover for violent criminals who have been preying on American citizens. Totally insane. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not outraged by any of this. I mean, let's really put it into perspective here, especially since we're talking about Guantanamo Bay. Guantanamo Bay, of course, is a prison facility that's used to hold the most violent of criminals and, of course, ding ding ding, terrorists. The left is pushing this moral outrage, but I'm not morally outraged here. I think it's totally justified and probably long overdue. The Trump administration is actually cracking down, finally. And they're doing something that I think should have been done a long time ago, treating these cartel organizations like terrorist organizations. And you know exactly what happens to terrorists, right? They go to Guantanamo Bay.
Drug cartels have been declared terrorist organizations. And if you find that, and we know if there's Al Qaeda, we're going to hit them. I don't care if you're in Somalia, Sudan, or in Syria. If we find that they continue to fire at our border control and they continue to put fentanyl into our country, as the Secretary of Defense, are you permitted now to go after them in Mexico or wherever they are?
Brian, I don't want to get ahead of the president, and I won't. That's ultimately going to be his decision. But let me be clear, all options will be on the table. If we're dealing with what are designated to be foreign terrorist organizations who are specifically targeting Americans on our border, and we're finally securing our border. We've been securing other people's border for a very long time. The military is shifting toward an understanding of homeland defense on our sovereign territorial border. That is something we will do and do robustly.
What can I say other than very based? And of course, like I said earlier, it's about damn time. I don't think anybody has any issues here. Guantanamo Bay is simply a facility that's being used appropriately, and that's most importantly being used to protect the homeland from the most violent of criminals. I don't see the issue, and if you do have an issue, leftoids, well then maybe gather a little bit of evidence, find a whistleblower, come with some actual proof, evidence, receipts of a real scandal, not this misguided Trump derangement syndrome crap that clearly nobody's buying anymore, not even your own thought leaders. Take a friggin' hint. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.